So we are now just under a week away from links being added to Duel Links, and in preparation for that, Konami has allowed us to actually play around with the brand new extra monster zone before the links are even released. Which is definitely a really great idea, and I'm sure someone has definitely not found a way to abuse that. So you guys have heard of the card Phantasmal Lord Ooga Booga, right? The big giant boss monster that just summons an equal amount of tokens to your field and then summons them to your opponent's side of the field. Now this card in Duel Links wasn't really that great, as when it's summoned, it will give you 2 tokens, and then it will give your opponent only 2 tokens, leaving a giant gaping hole in their monster zone where they can still summon out basically whatever they like, leaving your board lock to being basically useless. Well, now we have an extra monster zone we can place it in. This essentially means that your big boss monster can now summon 3 tokens to your field, since your boss monster is not taking up one of the slots. So then you can also summon 3 tokens to your opponent's field, essentially meaning they can't normal summon anymore. Now this isn't much of a big deal once links are around, because once the links are introduced, you can link summon using the tokens, but until then, yeah, most decks, unless they want to tribute summon, they can't play the game. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I go to the deck list, if you're enjoying today's video and want to see more content just like this one, especially if you're a returning viewer, as apparently only about 50% of the people that watch these videos or even subscribe to the channel, yet nearly all of you are returning viewers who have seen my content before. So if you are enjoying this content and want to see more content just like it in the future, remember to leave a like on this video and consider subscribing to the channel down below. Alright, let's get into the deck list. So this deck list is going to be a typical stock standard Resonator deck list you've just seen a billion times before, only it has a very major twist, and that is of course going to be your Phantasmal Lord Ooga Booga. This card, it cannot be synchro summoned, it must be special summoned from the extra deck by sending 2 level 8 or higher monster control with the same level to the graveyard, 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner. So essentially, this card is basically an Xyz monster, but not really, because it needs a tuner monster on field still. It's a weird way to summon it. It doesn't even technically have a level, it just has a level, well, it's treated as level 12, it doesn't even have a level. It's a weird card, but it's probably one of my favourite cards ever printed, as it's really funny. Because basically, this card, it cannot be destroyed by card effects. This card gains 1000 attack for each monster on the field. Now, once per turn during either player's main phase, you can special summon the same number of tokens, Fiend, Dark level 1, blah blah blah, on each player's field in defense position, so as to summon as many as possible. Also, this card cannot attack for the rest of the turn. So essentially, you'll summon this card to the field, activate its effect, and you'll fill up every single monster zone on the board with a very useless 0 attack token. And because of that, now that your opponent has a billion monsters and you have a billion monsters, this card gains 1000 attack for each, so it has a billion attack. Now before the update, this wasn't that good of an effect, as unfortunately, because this card counts as himself being on the field, and this card could only summon an equal amount of tokens to either field, it meant you could only summon the 2 tokens that you summon on your field, you could only summon 2 to your opponent's field, so they would have an empty zone still for their normal summons to go into whatever they like, and generally just break whatever locks you're trying to do. But now with the update, we have an extra zone, this card can just summon himself in there, and fill up every single zone on the field with a token. Which is very good, because this card currently can't actually attack on the turn it uses its effect, so you have to wait 1 turn before you're trying to lethal your opponent. And with cards like Enemy Controller, when the turn passes back to you, you activate your controller, put his token in attack position as 0 attack, your card has like 7,000 to 8,000, whatever it is, and you just swing into it and lethal them instantly. Now to summon this guy is pretty simple, you simply just need a level 8 on the field and a level 8 tuner on the field. So simply do your normal standard Resonator climbing of this dude plus your Wildwind without using a normal summon because they special summon themselves, go into your Red Dragon, bring back your tuner monster, then go into whatever level 8 you feel like it, and then you can just normal summon out your Morph King. This card is a bit weird. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target 1 other face-up monster on the field. You cannot special summon monsters next to it except synchro monsters for the rest of this turn. Also, change this card's level to that target. And if you do, gain life points equal to that target's level times 200. So essentially, you'll just normal summon this card, target your synchro monster, gain a bit of life points, its level will become 8, and there's the 2 cards you need on board to go straight into your Ooga Booga. This card also has a couple of other synergies with the deck. First of all, it's a Fiend type monster, so it's searchable off of your Wandering King Wildwind and off your skill as well. But keep in mind, if you use it via your skill, the skill locks you out of using the monster's effects on that turn, so it's probably not the best to do it that way, but it's kind of a cool little follow-up, as you'll see in the gameplays, where you can summon this on later turns, just because you can search this off your Wildwind. This card also has a second effect. During your main phase, you can special summon Fiend type monster with a level lower than this card from your hand, which is pretty easy to do since this card's going to be level 8 most of the time, or level 6, whatever level you make it, so you can use that to bring out some of your other fiends from your hand. Now there is one more new feature about the addition of the extra monster zone that has massively impacted this deck, and that is the fact that now when you're doing your standard combo where you go into your Red Rising Dragon using your Wildwind and your Resonator, this card, when it's brought back to the field using your Red Rising Dragon, will now have 2 monster zones on the field rather than the one it used to have. Meaning this card, when it's on the field and there's a synchro monster on the field, you can special summon up to 2 resonating monsters from your hand or deck. So this card can then bring out 2 of these dudes, leaving 3 tuners on the board, which is very important, because it means you can now climb into your level 8, then use the 2 tuners to consistently go into your Red Nova Dragon, which before wasn't something you could do as consistently. You could still do it, it was just kind of difficult to do and didn't happen 100% of the time. Now you can do it 100% of the time, and you can do it all without using your normal summon. So you can summon this card out, then you can just use your skill, search up your Doomaliber Knight, or maybe if you have another Wildwind in hand, go into another synchro play. There's plenty of cool things you can do with this deck. Important thing to note is you can now summon this card extremely consistently, basically every single time on turn 1, and you can do it without using your normal summon. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the deck list portion of the video. The rest of the video will be gameplay showcasing this deck list in action, and without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, let's get into the gameplays. So today I have 4 replays to show you guys, one of which is going to be very boring, as it's just going to be showing up the standard lock, and then my opponent just concedes instantly without fighting back. But that's alright for me, because I just need to show off the lock anyway. The other 3 are pretty good gameplays though that show off a good matchup when my opponent actually decides to try and fight back. But yeah, first one's just going to be showing off the standard lock. Now keep in mind this lock isn't exactly the most foolproof lock around. People contribute summon over it, they contribute it with econs, there's a billion ways they can get out of it. It's mostly just a really funny way to just summon a big boss monster on turn 1. That may make your opponent be a bit annoyed. Alright, so here's how to set it up. Activate my Demon's Resonance, getting hold of Wildwind, then special summoning my Crimson Resonator from hand, so I don't use my normal summon. Now the 2 dudes on board and go into Red Rising, bring back the level 2, have enough for level 8, and because we haven't used our normal summon and we hard opened the combo piece, we can just normal summon it, and as you'll see in a second, once this very fancy animation is out of the way. God damn that tail. Alright. Normal summon our dude, target our Resonator, making himself level 8, and there's our Ooga Booga. Making it so my opponent now has 0 monster zones to summon cards in, because we've summoned it straight to our brand new extra monster zone. So he has literally no way of normal summoning outside of Tribute Summon now, unless he has some way to get rid of the tokens in other means, like fusion summoning or something? I don't know. And he concedes instantly. So that's basically how you start the lock. Alright, on to the other replays. So this replay is going to be a bit of a fun one, because this one was against a Blue Eyes player, but we didn't actually open the lock right at the start. So I get to show you the other cool thing about the latest update to Resonators. The reason why having extra monster zones is also a really good update for Resonator. Alright. Sturdy card, Blue Eyes. Alright, so special summoning out my Resonator, special summoning my Wildwind, Red Rising into the extra monster zone, and special summoning this dude to the middle. Now because we've actually got a brand new zone, we've actually gotten an extra zone here to summon another tuner to, because this card can summon 2 tuners to the board, so an extra tuner on the board is really nice. Because it means we can summon out the deck's big boss monster a lot easier. Oh, you've already seen this animation. Going straight into the card without an animation for some reason. Pretty cool looking summoning animation though. Red Nova Dragon. And because we actually haven't used our normal summon yet, we could even go into another Doomaliber Knight. In fact, if this was going second and we wanted to remove some stuff, we could go into another full synchro play here. I could back to my Resonator Call, I could have searched for a Wildwind, and I could have set up a brand new synchro play going to yet another Red Rising, and just absolutely decimated my opponent's board. But because we're going first, I'm just going to search for this, guys. It's a nice little negation to hopefully have some disruption. We have no back row, actually. In this case, it doesn't really matter because he's just going to summon a Blue Eyes, and, well, with Blue Eyes on the field, that's a bit more attack than my poor Doomaliber Knight has. So he does Synchro Summon, so he gets to negate the White Stone. Summons out Vermilion. Apparently reading isn't his strong suit, because then he tries to destroy my Red Nova Dragon, which is immune to destruction, but either way. Does proceed to Karma Cut it. Doesn't matter to me though, because we've already activated my... Where is he? We've already activated my Wildwind's effect to search for a Fiend from deck, getting my Stygi-Gel, or Stygi-Gel. Just say Morph King, that's easier. Alright, Demon's Resonance, shuffling into the deck, giving my Wildwind. So now we can... There's a lock we can set up. Summon my dude, go into my Red Rising. Now I'm pretty sure we had some much better plays we could have done here, but I wanted to do this one as it's the most entertaining for me, so... Summon my dude, getting about 2,700 life points back. Going to my Dark End Dragon to remove his monster. Or we can leave his monster on the field, either one. Summon out my Phantasmal Lord, leaving his monster on board, and passing it back. Now keep in mind, your Phantasmal Lord can't attack on the turn it uses its effect, so because of this, obviously I can't actually do a whole lot here, so I had to pass back to my opponent. And he can't do a whole lot either, because this card, just like with the previous boss monster on the field, is actually immune to destruction effects, so he can't even destroy it. So beat over his monster, pass back. Now a bit of a top deck war here, until I draw my enemy controller, put his monster in attack position, and beat him to death. Yeah, this combo is very silly. Definitely not a very competitive combo, but hey, I got a couple of rank ups with this, so I'm not complaining. Alright. Akiza. So this was a I guess it was a Rose one? A Rose Dragon, I think. It's actually a pretty good matchup into Rose Dragon, because they don't have any ways to tribute someone, so... I guess they draw their econs, but a lot of people have cut the econ now because they know the ban list is coming up, which will forcibly remove the econ, so... Alright. So opponent's got to go first, which is a bit annoying because we can't set up the lock yet. Summons out a Psyframe Lord Zeta, and passes back. So now I have to summon everything in defense position, but that doesn't matter too much to me. Alright, Demon's Resonance, swapping it over, getting my Wildwind. Special Summon, level 6, bring back level 2, going to level 8. This time being able to remove his monster beforehand. Now we can go straight into my boss monster. He's going to activate his Basil Rose Stream Response, which is a bit annoying because it means that we're going to have... He just has a random monster on the field. Luckily, he doesn't have any actual level 5 synchros in his deck to try to bring out here, so it's still a bit of a lock. You can't really do a whole lot here, still. So he's still relying on trying to draw some back row or me clearing his field. I set the econ, probably shouldn't have actually in case he had an MST. Change the battle position of his monster and beat him to death. Alright. Game number 3 or 4. Final replay. Forget who this was against. Oh, that's right, there's the Magnet Warrior player. Right, I willingly gave him Destiny Draw because I could not be bothered. Alright. What an insane starting hand. It's so insane, I'm just going to normal summon this and pass. This has a decent back row at least though. Doomaliber Knight negating his monster so it doesn't get its search. This is a mandatory negate by the way if you don't know what this card does, so I don't actually get to decide when it negates. So it even negates my own monsters if I use them first. Alright, Demon's Resonance, swapping it over, getting my Doomaliber, also my Wildwind. It's so good the skill now puts Red Rising in the extra deck, so we can have more room in the extra deck for other things. Alright, summon out Red Rising. Bring back level 2. He's going to network trap hole it, which is a bit annoying. I give him Destiny Draw. Because I'm a big intelligent guy. Huge brain, I'm telling you. Alright, searching for it, passing. Wildwind's gonna give us a search. For some reason he uses this now. I don't know why specifically now he decided to use it. Maybe he thought this card was like an effect that I can use again to summon my tuner. I don't know why. Either way, he activated Fiendish now. I summon my dude. He Book of Moons it, which is a bit annoying. Can't summon out my tuners. Also can't beat over this because this card's currently under Fiendish Chain. Which is annoying because we actually had Econ ready, so there was a good chance we could have lethaled him there if we just Econ'd his stuff and hit him in the face. Alright, summons out his dude, we're just gonna Book of Moon that, don't have to deal with it. Gets to these monsters, so he has freeze up the monster zones for his card once we destroy it. Unless, of course, we don't plan to destroy it. Because we drew our Morph King. So, summon out RDA. Summon our dude, make the level 8. Summon out our boss monster, put the tokens on field. Econ, attack position, and he's gone. Beat him to death with the Wildwind. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff. And hope to see you guys in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.